This episode of Simple Civics Greenville County is brought to you by Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, providing free books to children 0 to 5 throughout Greenville County. To sign up, visit greenvillefirststeps.org/freebooks. That's greenvillefirststeps.org/freebooks.
One of the most powerful tools that we have to support family literacy is right in your own backyard, our Greenville County Libraries. There are 12 library branches across the county, and all of them are completely free to use for our local families. How can parents, caregivers, and community members take advantage of libraries to support the literacy development of even the youngest children? I'm Catherine Schumacher with Public Education Partners, and on today's episode of Simple Civics EdTalks, we are going to dive into the many ways our libraries are building reading skills and inspiring lifelong learners. Our guest is Jennifer Pinkerman, Youth Services Manager for the Greenville County Library System. She is interviewed by Derek Lewis, Executive Director of Greenville First Steps.
Jennifer, thanks for joining us today. We're really excited to talk about the library system. I think we know from First Steps' perspective that early learning, early literacy are just so important to helping those kiddos get to kindergarten on track and ready to succeed. So, maybe if we could just kind of start with just talking a little bit about any tips that you would give for a family that is kind of thinking about okay, so I know kindergarten's coming around the corner, but it's not here yet. What tips would you give to a family with a young child?
Thanks so much for having me today. I love any opportunity to talk about the library and our resources, and especially early literacy, which is near and dear to us. My first tip would just be read to your child. Read to your child every day. The more words that they hear builds their vocabulary, comprehension, helps with further memory. Language skills includes listening, speaking. So even infants, they need to hear words. So read to your child, even if it's just for a few minutes. It makes a difference. And as you read, it's important to stop and ask questions. What color is the bear's shirt? Or, something simple like that. Even just ask them, what's going to happen next? So, just the simple reading.
And having that routine is just it's amazing how even our youngest kids will remember, okay, after bath, we have a book. Then we always have a book after bath. And they will, even at our house, our son would have the book picked out before we even said it was time to read because he knew that it was coming. And we still read together, and he's 14. So, it is a habit that we have just continued to do. And it's just such a great way to kind of slow down the day after.
Right. And it is important because that routine helps build the habits. And then kids look forward to it. So we want reading to be fun. We don't want it to ever seem like it's something that, oh, no, I have to read. And so by doing that and establishing the routines, they learn to look forward to it. And it actually helps with parenting tasks along the way. If they know, oh, if I do this, I get to read my book after. So we have parents that come in, and you can check out up to 50 books at the library. And they'll come in and get their books. We're like, okay, we need one before bath. We need one at bedtime. We need one after snack before nap. The moms count them out, how many that they want to come and make sure they get so that they're stocked for the week.
But that is a really good point that you could also read the same book more than once.
Oh,
that the kids learning what's coming next
Right.
is actually part of the fun that they now are in on the story.
It is. Take, for example, Goodnight Moon. I know I read that one with my kids. We read it a lot in library programs, and they even learn the quiet lady whispering, hush. And they all just wait so that they can do the hush at the end. Yeah, repetition is so good because it does build that excitement, participation. So, yeah. It's also important that families surround their children with books. Just a print-rich environment in general is going to make them more like, oh, I haven't read that book. Let's see if we can read that book. It exposes them to so many words, which encourages their brain development, and it truly does foster a love of reading.
Even with our elementary school kids, I remember, so my wife made me watch all the seasons of Gilmore Girls. And one of the things I remember from it was the granddad always giving Rory a newspaper to read whenever she came over.
Right.
And I thought, that's kind of cool. I don't think that I've ever, thought about like the habit of presenting a newspaper, but like even in our house with an elementary school kid, like at breakfast every morning, we would sit and look at the newspaper on our tablet. And he last week was saying, "Do you remember when we used to read the sports section in the paper?" Like he just remembered those habits as just being a part of what he did at breakfast, which was kind of neat because I didn't think he was paying attention at all to what we were talking about.
Right, right. And I mean, even things like that, like a magazine, a newspaper, even like narrating things as you're going through the grocery store. Like just every word they hear helps with later, school readiness.
So we know the library has a great variety of books for all ages and all interests. There are how many libraries in Greenville County?
We have 12 locations plus our bookmobile and soon to be 13th location when our new Blue Ridge Library opens later this year.
That's exciting. And so when you have a library card, you can go to any of those libraries.
Any location, you can check out at any library, return at any library. We want it to be as easy as possible for you to come, check out what you need, and return them.
Yeah, the other thing that's neat that I love is that the library's online system will allow you to find a book that's at another library, and they'll ship it for free to your library. And so many times I'm able to go to our Augusta Road Library and get the book from the main library that isn't at that campus.
Right. We have couriers who get things to and from all of our branches every day on their routes, and yeah, we just want to put books into people's hands.
So we can get books. What are some of the other things that we can maybe use libraries for to maybe expose kids to language or literacy or activities?
We also have teaching kits, which is a kit, a bucket of books and materials that you check out as one item. They contain everything from board books to a bilingual book to picture books to nonfiction, and they're all associated with a theme. We've taken those and made them more intentional by matching them to the South Carolina State Teaching Standards and the DSS Early Learning Standards. And they're for teachers, parents, homeschool families, or just a mom whose kid is like, we're into trucks this week. And so, can you show me some books? And then we can offer this whole themed kit that they can take.
So one of our favorite things though at the main library was when we could go on the calendar and kind of see activities that are happening at the library. So can we just talk a little bit about like what are some of the events that you can participate in with your little ones at the library?
Right. Well, it's one of my favorite things to talk about because we've got, so many programs geared towards from our infants, preschoolers, all the way up to school age teens. And we even have lots of programs for adults. We have our Bouncing Babies program that is a lap sit program for parents to do with their infants. It's for birth to 18 months. And they come and they listen to stories and do movement activities and just, get the children immersed in literacy and speech and that type of thing. We progress up to our Toddler Tales program. So when they're a little more mobile and they're moving around, we just want to make sure we're very intentional as far as the programs being developmentally appropriate for the age of the child. Then we move up to, we've got a musical jamboree program where we bring in music and kids get to do hands-on with instruments with their stories. Our biggest one is our preschool story time. That's offered at almost every location every week. And it's like your traditional read books, sing songs, get up and do the hokey pokey, just a whole literacy experience. Then we can move into other events, like we have some STEAM events for preschoolers. We do a Science Station Junior program where they do like mini experiments. We've got our Preschool Picasso's program, which is art-based for preschoolers. And then we also take those programs up to school age where we'll have like the studio, which is arts. And, we do a Lego club and, we'll just have we just pick a topic and the programmer will run with it. So there's always something fun going on. You can go to our website and look on our kids event page and our calendar. You can break it down by location. You can break it down by type of program. So you can narrow in on where you want to go and what you want to do.
It's interesting because I would think most people probably, when they think of events at the library, think of those kind of at preschool, 4K, 5K story time activities. But to have these activities for newborns is really interesting because most of the families that we work with don't realize how important exposure to language and literacy is for a newborn who isn't even they're not even thinking about reading yet. So can you just talk a little bit about like why, from your perspective, it's important to put books and language kind of in front of newborns?
It's so important because just building that awareness from a young age, their brain development starts day one. And so just by exposing them to words, sounds, music, it's going to start creating those little neural pathways. We really want to make sure that we're nurturing not only the reading, but it also nurtures the parent-child relationship because the parents, for some of these parents, they're new parents. And so it's also modeling for them, how to interact with their child, how to, have that experience of sitting and reading together. I failed to mention our Mother Goose on the Loose program, which is excellent while we're talking about infants, because that one is for like 1 to 24 months. And it takes a little different spin with rhymes, just nurturing play, hearing the repetition of some of the same rhymes each week. And, for an infant, they start hearing the same thing over and over, they're going to perk up because, okay, that repetition is going to help them start building those skills. So it's just real important to read to the infants, get them in early and just start. And we've definitely found the ones that come in our Bouncing Babies and Mother Goose program, they'll kind of graduate up to Toddler Tales and Story Time. And we're just really hoping to build that like lifelong love of the library and reading.
Well, we're just so thankful that all of these resources are available and that so much of this is available free of charge. I know you also serve on the board for Greenville First Steps. We would be remiss to not also talk about Dolly Parton Imagination Library. So
Yes.
in addition to the library system having all of these books and resources families can check out, they can also go online and sign up for free for Dolly Parton, and the books will actually be mailed to their home. And we're certainly thankful to the First Steps board for approving that commitment. And so that link and the link to the libraries activities will both be in our show notes.
Right. We're so thankful First Steps provides the rack cards for Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. And we talk about it in our programs and we put those in the hands of parents. And at first, some of them are like, really? Free books?
Yeah. Mailed to your house.
We're like, really? Go online. Let's see if, your address qualifies.
Yeah.
So it's a great resource and it's definitely a very good partnership.
Well, we are thrilled for all the work that you're doing in Greenville County. Thank you for all the resources that you shared with us today, and we'll definitely help keep people informed of other activities to come.
Okay, thanks so much for having me.
Thank you.
Simple Civics EdTalks is a joint project of Greater Good Greenville, Greenville First Steps, and public education partners Greenville County.
Hi, Simple Civics Greenville County listeners, Nathaniel here. If you've made it this far, then we think you'll really love our newsletter. Sign up for bonus content, updates, and more right in your inbox. Look for the link in the description that says newsletter to sign up, or visit us at simplecivicsgreenvillecounty.org. Find the link in the menu that says newsletter and sign up there. We'll see you again next week.